William, always great to chat to you. So first off, Biden has appointed that scientific team of advisors to address the COVID-19 pandemic. How have those appointments been received?
Well, it's certainly seen as an incredibly diverse selection of experts for President-elect Biden. It is seen by himself as a key priority going forward. Of course, that will be the standout challenge of his presidency when it gets underway. That's the message we're hearing from his campaign. Of course, as you so rightly mentioned, we have seen a response from Joe Biden when it comes to this announcement from Pfizer and this potentially positive news when it comes to a vaccine being developed. Now, the message we're hearing from Joe Biden's team is to really persuade caution to the American people. While Joe Biden's team acknowledge this is potentially some very good news, they've been quick to say that things don't change on the ground. This comes that more than 1,000 Americans are losing their lives every single day to the coronavirus. So the message from the Joe Biden team is that people need to keep adhering to public health policies. So we can expect that message to be reiterated when we start to hear more from his coronavirus task force. I think it's also important to know we have heard from Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., who has said that it's potentially nefarious, the timing of this Pfizer announcement coming out just a few days after the election. That, of course, an unsubstantiated claim from Donald Trump's son there when it comes to potentially those accusations that this Pfizer timing is in some way politicised.
Unsubstantiated, as many of the claims from the Trump camp have been. William, many of us stopped looking at the vote count and at the allocation of those electoral college seats as soon as Biden was declared president-elect, yet the counting of votes has continued. Give us just the latest update on where things stand at the moment.
That's absolutely right. What we understood is over the weekend a slight increase when it came to the vote count for Joe Biden in the state of Arizona. Of course, things very, very close indeed there. We already know that in the state of Georgia, that will be going to a recount as well. But there are a number of lawsuits that we're expecting across several of these battleground states, the likes of Georgia, the likes of Arizona, Michigan as well. Of course, we've already expecting a recount in the state of Wisconsin to begin underway as well. So really we're seeing what's being described by some analysts as somewhat of a scattergun approach as far as President Trump's legal approach going forward is. But it's, again, important to note that a number of prominent Republicans have come out and expressed support for, or congratulations at least, for Joe Biden in his apparent election win. The likes of George W. Bush joining those ranks, as well as marks of congratulations from former presidential hopeful Mitt Romney. But a huge amount of Republicans in Washington remain very quiet on this topic. So at least what we can see and what we can glean from this lack of response from many members of the Republican Party is they're still very much taking a wait-and-see approach to just find out how these lawsuits will indeed play out. But for many analysts, it's very much seen as an incredible long shot from President Trump.
William, it's been quite quiet from the Trump camp in general. The president has tweeted for the first time since that declaration of victory from Joe Biden. That tweet released at 11:53 p.m. on November the 7th. And essentially, the president writing all in capitals, as is his style, that observers were not allowed into the counting rooms. I won the election, got 71 million legal votes. Bad things happened, which our observers were not allowed to see. Never happened before. Millions of mail-in ballots were sent to people who never asked for them. What do you make of this first tweet by the president?
Well, what we're expecting is more details to be released from President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who's expected to make more announcements with regards to this legal action. Of course, the message from many here in the United States is, OK, if there are grievances, let's see the proof. Even many members of the Republican Party have come out and said, OK, happy to wait and see for this legal action to take place. That is certainly the president's legal right, especially when it comes to things like recounts in states like Wisconsin, where when the margins are so tight, he is well within his right to request a recount. But the question really burning in the minds of those in the United States is where exactly is the proof? You mentioned a couple of instances. One topic that the president has been keen to mention is access to polling stations. The response from a number of election commission officials across states like Wisconsin, like Pennsylvania, that have been brought into question is their message is that they've been acting under full transparency. Their priority has been counting every single legal vote. Of course, even after election day, their message is they're still going through all these votes and they will be counted because they are legal votes to be counted. And that is the strong message that it is the bastion of democracy in the United States, that every single person that has legally counted a ballot, those must be counted. So a very strong rebuttal from a number of election commissions to some of the president's claims.
Thank you very much, William Denselow, our US correspondent. And of course, until all those until proof is provided that any votes were not legal, the 74 million votes received by Biden are also perfectly legal.